Welcome to my webinar today on 10 tips for a successful first week with your puppy. My name is Stephanie Williams. I'm a One Mind Dogs instructor. I've been a professional dog trainer for 13 years. I have currently 4 dogs in my house, 3 Shelties and 1 Border Collie, who is 18 months old. So puppyhood was not that long ago for me too. So in this webinar, we will cover 10 topics that we think really help to streamline the first week, because it can be really exciting to bring home a new puppy and sometimes overwhelming. And maybe it's been a while since you've had a puppy. And so we can kind of like lose track of those skills that we had. And so it's good to bring those back in and then also get to learn some new things. So let's go ahead and jump in. And before we actually get into the topics that we'll cover today, I do want to talk to you a little bit about One Mind Dogs method and how it originated, how it developed into this training program. And it all started with this dog that you see here, Tekla. Tekla belonged to our leading coach and founder, Janita Leinonen, and Tekla lost her hearing. And at the time, Janita was doing dog agility, a sport that I'm sure everyone is familiar with. But even in just basic dog training, verbal cues are really, really important. But if you have a deaf dog, you can't rely on verbal cues, of course. And so Janita had to figure out another way to communicate with Tekla. And so through this process of learning with Tekla, where Tekla showed Janita what she understood based on her perspective, so Tekla's perspective on what Janita was trying to communicate to her and so on, our method was born. So it's all based on the dog's perspective, and it really is natural communication for the dog, created by dogs, and it works with dogs all around the world. So we've really come to understand how dogs see things, and how they learn, how they communicate with each other, how they communicate with us, and how they understand what we are trying to tell them. Okay, so this is all what it's based on. So you really do learn how to speak dog when you're learning our method. And as we talk about puppies, you'll see more about that in terms of how we use rewards and also how we get to know our puppies. So your first week with your puppy is all about building a relationship with them. So your relationship is going to be a foundation for good teaching and also a foundation for a good life with your puppy. So really important that we start that bonding process right from the first day that they come home. So we'll talk about how to do that today. And these are the 10 topics that we're going to cover, or the 10 tips. One is puppy proofing, which is all about keeping your puppy safe and also beginning to teach new habits and good home habits right from the get-go, right from when your puppy comes home. We also need a safe space for the puppy so that your puppy can learn important skills like how to settle down and sleep, even when you are not home, or when you are, and also how to learn to what they should chew, for example, and what they should not, and so on. We need to get to know our puppies, as I mentioned, so that you can understand your individual puppy, because they're all different. And the more that you know your puppy, the easier it is to build relationship and to teach them good habits. We'll talk about puppies' meals and how we can use these as a tool for relationship building and training again. So we don't have to put a bowl down necessarily. You can use their meals in other ways. So we'll get to that too. We'll talk about basic training and what should you start teaching as soon as your puppy comes home. How to potty train, which we also have to start right from the first day. We'll talk about introducing people. What does that mean? What does it look like? How do we go about it? And also, what does socialization mean and how do we do that? And it's really important that we do socialization with our little puppies because their brains are developing right at that moment to be able to accept those new experiences. So we'll talk about that one. Creating positive associations, which puppies are always learning and they're always making these associations. And we want those associations to be good feelings. Because good feelings are the basis for, the foundation for being able to teach really good behavior and also to lead a happy life together. So it's always important to have that on your mind, not just what is your puppy learning to do, but how do they feel? Okay. And finally, being patient, which is a little bit about the puppy and also a lot about us and allowing time for behavior change to happen and habits to form. So we'll talk about all those today, starting with puppy proofing, which means maybe even before your puppy comes home, but certainly on the first day, getting down to their level, looking around, seeing what they see. Because puppies like to explore the world with their mouths, just like you can see in this little picture. And they will put their mouth on pretty much everything around them. And they're testing out to see, is this something I can chew? What is this? And so on. And so anything that you don't want to be become a chew toy, should be put away, right? Block access, put the shoes, the kids' toys, your remote, your cell phone, things that smell like you. Make sure those things are out of reach of the puppy, or you've blocked them off. So perhaps with something like a baby gate, for example. So if you have for a dining room table and you can prevent that your puppy goes in there and wants to chew that table leg, baby gates and X pens are really great for those things, for just providing some structure so that your puppy is set up for success. So be thinking what might they try to chew, and make sure they can't actually reach those things. So what we want our puppies to chew are their toys. And so if we set up their environment so that the puppy can be successful, we can start to create those good habits right from the beginning. All right. And it also includes things like power cords, plants, things that might be unsafe for the puppy. We want to make sure that we prevent access to those. So it's all about prevention, and making sure that we set the puppy up for success. Make sure they can't climb up to high places where they might fall off. Definitely go and check your yard perimeter. If you have a fenced in backyard, make sure there's no little areas that your puppy can slip through. And keep an eye on that from day to day, so that we're making sure that they don't start to learn to dig in spots, things like that. All right. And also, if you have other dogs or other animals in your home, cats, it's really good to have spaces where they can be separate from the puppy. So your baby gates help you with that too. And just to provide some structure, because when we bring a new puppy home, when they're interacting with other animals in the house that you might have, that should always be supervised. So the rule is supervise your puppy at all times when they're not safely confined. If you can't supervise, they should then be in a safe and comfortable space. And we recommend for that a playpen. So an X pen is another word for it. And they can be set up in a little like circular fence that gives the puppy room to move around and stand up, lay down, circle, whatever they might need to do, stretch out, but still they're safely confined. So they can't get into any kind of trouble. And it's also really important for them to learn how to, for example, settle down and chill out, whether you're home or not. And this is one of the most important things that gets missed in teaching a puppy in the first week. So when we bring puppy home, we spend a lot of time with the puppy, and then suddenly we have to go to work or something like that. So instead of just suddenly making that change, start teaching your puppy from the first day that he or she is going to be alone sometimes. And so that means letting them rest in their little X pen while you maybe go to another room of the house or go outside for a few minutes, etc., so that they can already learn that it's no problem to be alone and they are fine and they are safe. Your X pens are also going to help with, like we said, learning good house manners, such as what to chew and what not to chew, because inside that pen is where you're going to leave just safe toys that your puppy can be with, that we know are safe to chew, a comfortable bed, water, and nothing else. So they won't be able to go around and try to chew table legs and that kind of thing. So it really helps with that. It's also going to be an important part of your potty training routine. And as we mentioned, you're making sure that if you have other animals, that we're setting everybody up for success and creating a nice structured routine around that. All right. And so we'll teach them that their playpen is a really nice place to hang out and relax in, and a really handy tool for your first weeks with your puppy. We also want to get to know our puppies when we bring them home. And every pup is different. Even if you've had this same breed before, they will have totally different personalities. And so getting to know your puppy is, of course, part of building relationship with them. And it means being an observer of your puppy, watching them, and to find out what do they like as one of the things that we're looking out for. So what do they like to do? What are their favorite activities? What kind of toys do they like? Do they like squeaky toys? Do they like soft toys? Do they like rubber toys? They all have preferences with that. How do they like to play with you? Some puppies are like enjoying really rough games of play, really boisterous type of play. Other puppies are softer and they would prefer a softer game of play. Get to know also, how does your puppy like to be praised? Praise is a very, very important part of how we reward a puppy. They naturally understand our feelings and what we're feeling in the moment. And so when you can show your puppy that you're really happy with them in a way that they enjoy, it's another way to reward them. And it's just as important as food and toys are, as how we reward our puppies. And some puppies really like, again, boisterous praise, cheerleading praise. Other puppies are not that, are not as fond of that. So get to know that too. How do they like to be praised? Find out what your puppy's pace is. Like, are they really, really active? Are they less active? These are going to be important as we go and talk about, for example, meeting people and that sort of thing. Get to know their sleep routine. How much rest do they need? Most puppies need a lot of rest, and we really want to make sure that we're providing that, because if they don't get enough rest, they can get a little bit grumpy. So really watch your puppy and get to know who they are in these first few days, so that way you understand your individual pup and can train around that. And you're also really building really solid relationship, particularly in terms of knowing what their best rewards are. And don't forget your meals. Your puppy's meals are a great way to reward them. And I think most of us will put a bowl down, for example, 2 or 3 times a day and feed our puppies like that. But if you start to incorporate meals as training tools, so instead of putting the bowl down, that you are bringing the food with you in like a little container or a treat pouch, something like that, and using it as training, not only are you going to protect their little tummies, so they're not going to get overly full because we're using their actual meals as training tools, but it's also a really great way, again, to build relationship. Show them that you are the provider of good things, particularly food, and we can make training fun that way. So I'll show you a little example of how you can do that in this video.
Yes!
So this is little Spider.
Yes!
And you can see here he's just practicing some coming when called and getting his meals for training and praise as well. Little Spider belongs to our CEO. He's not a puppy anymore, but this was the training that they were doing in the first week that he was home, just out on their little walks together. And so that's an example of just bringing the puppy's meals along and using them for rewards in all kinds of ways. So in addition to coming when called, you can reward your puppy for anything else that they're doing that you like, of course, if they're just looking up at you or they're sitting by you or something like that. And of course, we can also use rewards for skills training as we go along as well. All right, let's talk about potty training. So teaching your puppy how and when, where to go to the bathroom, really, really important. And it's important also to keep in mind that most puppies are not going to start to develop any kind of bladder control until they're about 5 months old. But we do also want to start to create a routine around potty training so that we can begin to teach them where they should go. Even though they may have some accidents sometimes. So we want to take our puppies out very often. So every 1 to 2 hours when they're awake, take them out after they've eaten, take them out after they've had some water, after playtime, pretty much anytime there's activity, you can be taking them out. Always supervise your puppy when they're not in their playpen also, and be watching for the signals that they have to go. If you see the circling or the sniffing, take them out. If they're like going by the door, take them out. And potty training the puppy is about creating that routine and getting them out very often. It is also about using the X pen, the Playpen, to help create that structure. And eventually your Playpen will also encourage them to want to hold their bladder because they don't want to go in their little sleeping area. And that'll take a little bit of time. But also potty training is about teaching the puppy what they should do. So where should they pee and poop? And ideally it's one specific spot in the yard. And when we take them out there, we're still treating it just like training a skill. So when they do go there, praise and reward them for going in that one spot, so that they begin to understand this is the place where they go to the bathroom. And always take them out on leash as well, because we do want to make sure they stay in that one spot and not go around the yard and sniff. Because sometimes what happens is if they go around and sniff, they kind of forget to go, and then we bring them back inside thinking they don't have to, and that's when we have an accident in the house. So I'll show you an example of this, and you're also going to get here a little sneak peek of what our app has to offer in terms of lessons for training. So you'll see a little description of what you need to do and a video of how to go about it. All right. So this is an example of the potty training lessons that we have, where here you can see this is the one spot in the yard that this puppy's owner has chosen as the potty training spot. And puppy is on leash, and we're just sort of staying in that spot and sort of walking around a little bit just in that area. So the movement will maybe encourage the puppy to go, but we're not letting the puppy wander around and sniff and explore too much, because again, they can get kind of distracted and then not go. So just walking around, watching the puppy, and then as soon as they go, now we're praising and rewarding. so that the puppy knows that that's the right thing to do, because puppies are very good at learning what they should do. And so all of our training is centered around that, teaching the puppy what it is they should do and letting them know right in that moment that's the right thing to do, because puppies live in the moment, so they need to understand you are right. And so this is how we can begin to go about teaching that. So here again, you can see how our program breaks things down for you into little steps so that you can see what to do. And it's designed for all puppies, to give them a good pacing in terms of how to train. So little lessons throughout the day and little reminders for how to go about things. And yes, here you can see also that we can add a cue word to tell the puppy to go in this spot as well. So if that's something you'd like to teach, that's the time to do it, is right when they're about to go. You say your cue word, and then we reward them for going in their little potty spot. All right. And so by creating routine around that and also teaching your puppy what they should do, then they learn where to go. And then we start to create some really good potty training routine. Then over time, you see that accidents become less and less frequent and eventually non-existent. And of course, do keep in mind too, accidents will happen and it's no big deal. We just clean it up. Just put your puppy, if they do have an accident in the house, no reaction, just put the puppy in the playpen, go clean it up, keep an enzymatic cleaner on hand so that will take away the scent so that they don't smell it there and then be encouraged to go there again, but no big deal. But do put them in the X pen so they don't try to like play with the paper towels as you're cleaning up. But that's it. All right, good. So let's talk now about introducing your puppy to people, because it can be really exciting, of course, to bring home a puppy, and we tend to want to introduce them to a lot of new people. But this is, again, where knowing your puppy is really, really important, because we really want to go at the puppy's pace when it comes to meeting people. They can get overwhelmed if we go too fast or introduce them to too many people. And then if that's happening, that can actually, instead of creating a positive association with meeting people, if they're feeling feelings of overwhelmed or stress, then it becomes less positive and less fun. And we don't want that. We want them to enjoy being with people, feel safe with people, and confident. So start gradually. Let them meet a couple of family members, friends, a few people in your neighborhood. And always go at the puppy's pace in terms of, do they want to interact with that person? So if they're showing signs that they don't, so for example, are they kind of going behind you or going off and sniffing and not saying hello? That is okay. It's actually really great to recognize that and go and thank that person and just move on, because you will build trust with your puppy that way. They'll see that you understand what they're trying to tell you and that you're supporting them. And that's a really important way to build relationships. So never force them to interact, but go at their pace. If they are interacting with somebody and you're happy with that, reward that. So again, if you have your puppy's meals on you, that's another time that you can give them a few little pieces of kibble and some praise for saying hello. And we'll really focus on making those positive experiences. But also remember, they don't have to say hi to everybody either. In fact, it's actually more beneficial if they learn that sometimes they're not going to say hi to people, but that they're just being around people and focusing on you. And that's just as important, if not more so, than meeting a lot of people. So also teach them that, hey, people are just over there and we're here together, you and me, little puppy. Okay. So not that we have to meet a lot of people all at once. And now that will take us into socializing your puppy, which this word socializing, I think, gets misunderstood a lot. Like many people see that as meeting lots of humans and also meeting lots of dogs. And yes, those things are part of socializing your puppy, but socializing is actually more about new experiences and exposing your puppy to the different things in their environment that they have to become used to. So yes, some dogs, but it's actually better if they learn to ignore the dogs that are around them, that instead that they might just be in that place and be used to being around people and dogs, but not having to interact with them. It's a much easier way to teach your puppy to focus on you lifelong than if they begin a habit of meeting everybody. So make sure you're teaching them to pay attention to you and ignore actually the people and dogs around them sometimes too, just as important. But as we said, socializing is also a lot about experiences. So what are the environments that they need to visit? So it could be a loud city, or it could be, if you live in a city, then you want to go find a park, for example. what are the different sounds and sights that they need to be used to, different surfaces to walk on. So grass, gravel, concrete, lawn sounds of lawn mowers, fireworks, all of these different things. Because at the age that your puppy is now, this is the time when their brains are developing the ability to feel confident experiencing new things. So get them out there to safe places and let them experience those things, but always in a positive way. So bring your rewards with you. Go at your puppy's own pace. Let them explore. Reward the calmness so that they begin to also build that skill of just, it's not that we're getting really excited about things, but we're just out and enjoying the world together in a calm way. Play games with them in these different places as well, because that will help them feel comfortable, build some more confidence. So I'll give you some examples now of how you can go about socializing. So for example, here's little Spider again. And little Spider in this video is learning about this robot lawnmower, which for puppies, everything they encounter is something new, is a new experience. And even things that seem commonplace to us are not to them. So something like a robot lawnmower or something that moves and makes noise can be something that is a good opportunity for socialization. And so starting a little bit kind of far from not making the puppy go right up to it, but a little far away from it and just feeding him for being around it. So there again, you can see using the food bowl with Spider's meals to help him learn about this. So this is really useful in terms of teaching him that new experiences are safe and fun. So yes, it's somewhat about like learning about the lawnmower and that thing is not something to be scared of, but also just in general, experiencing something new means good things happen. All right. So going at the puppy's pace and also building trust that way. And here's another example. This is a parking garage. And again, here you'll see little Spider in a place where there'll be sounds of cars, a concrete surface, echoes as you talk, that kind of thing. And so he gets to eat his meals here again. So using the food bowl for training and experiencing something new, going out into the city. So like walking on that grate, for example, is a different surface for the puppy. All of these things is just little new experiences day to day. And if you really check out your environment, you can actually see a lot of opportunities to socialize and help your puppy learn to be super confident when they experience all these new things. And here's one more. A little Spider in the city at night, so lots of new sounds and sights and things to experience. And again, just eating. And of course, eating is certainly like a positive association. And also like if puppies are feeling a little bit nervous, actually eating helps to calm them a bit too. So, and then we can do a little bit of training alongside that as well. So remember, puppies are always learning. They're like little sponges. So we can teach them about new experiences and also teach them how to feel and teach them skills. And then we're building a really confident puppy and building relationship at the same time. So be thinking, what socialization experiences can you provide for your puppy? And of course, also we're starting basic training, and we saw a little bit of that already in the videos that I've shown you with using the food bowl as a training tool, and also a little bit even in those socialization videos, you could see that Spider was getting rewarded for the responding to a whistle or a name call. And there are many training programs that might say, for example, that, oh, we should wait and not train right away, but actually we should, because there's easy and fun things that you can teach a puppy right from the beginning when you bring them home, such as reacting to their name. So maybe you take a few days to pick a name for your puppy, or maybe you've already gotten one, you already have one chosen. As soon as we have that, we can start to teach them that their name means look at you, and that when they hear their name, good things are going to happen. So I'll show you how you can start that in a way that's really puppy friendly, really easy, and right from the first day. And again, here's an example of how you'll see in the videos that we have in our program, how to go about training. So it will break things down, explain how to do things, and you'll see the little steps as we go through the video. So what would you need? Just small treats. Again, you can use your puppy's kibble. Of course, make sure they're a little bit hungry, and start somewhere quiet when we first begin training something if we can. So this is actually not Spider, it's a different little puppy. And you're just giving them a treat and saying the name at the same time. And what the puppy will learn is to associate that the treat is connected to the sound of their name. right? So we want them to learn that the sound of their name means good things coming from you. And then later it will also mean look at you, and then later run to you. So it's the first steps of teaching coming when called. And it's just that easy that we can do that on the first day. And just a few repetitions, 4 to 8 times. And if it goes really well, then you would go on to the next lesson. So you can start that right from the beginning. When you bring your puppy home, you're building relationship and also teaching them a skill. Right. So beyond name call, also really important that we teach the puppy to make eye contact with you. Eye contact is really important in terms of communication with our dogs, that they're looking at us and also we're looking at them. It's part of how we connect. And some puppies do it really naturally. Others need more training on it, but we want to make sure we're teaching it to our puppy right from the beginning. And it will help you to make that connection and start building the relationship right from day one when you bring them home. And so here you can see again how to, using an example from our program, how to begin to teach your puppy to look right at you. And again, you can use their meals for this as well, starting somewhere quiet. Pick a cue word like look or something like that, so that you can begin to teach them what that means, which is look at you. And here, with the puppy on leash and holding a treat, the puppy's going to want to look at the treat. And instead, we're going to wait, maybe just remind them that, hey, I have this treat, but we're going to keep waiting for the puppy to do what's called offering, which is that they choose to look at you. And as soon as they choose that, do that offering of eye contact, then we reward them. So we're going to be really patient as we let the puppy think about it. And they'll try, of course, other things like lunging towards the tree, jumping on you. But waiting and letting the puppy figure out this offering skill is a really great learning experience for the puppy. They begin to learn how to learn. They learn that offering the eye contact to you is a great way to get the things that they want. So they learn that good things come through you by looking at you. So you have to be super patient and really watch for that moment when they choose to look at you instead of looking at the treat. Keep waiting for it. Sometimes we have to wait for a little bit, but it's okay. And there it is. And the moment the puppy looks at you, that's the instant you're going to say your word, look, or whatever you've chosen, and give the treat right then. Because remember, puppies are very much in the moment. So we want to use that reward to tell them that's the correct thing. Okay, so your rewards do that. They build relationship, but they are also a way that you can let your puppy know you've done it right now. And again, puppies have to understand you are right in this moment. Not that you got it right a few moments ago, but that you are right. Really important. All right. And we can also teach our puppies this important life skill of being patient. They don't all understand that innately. We have to bring it out in them. And lots of what we need the puppy to know about living with humans involves being patient. So for example, walking nicely on leash is about patience. Not saying hi to everyone around them is about patience. Sitting so you can put a food bowl down is about patience. Here's another example of being patient, again with little Spider. And you'll see here how eye contact becomes part of this tool for teaching patience. So we'll take that skill of eye contact and apply it in this scenario where Spider is learning to wait for a gate to be opened for him. So this might be a door at your home, for example, where we can begin to teach this concept of be patient and also look at you, and that when they connect with you with this eye contact, that good things happen. So yes, rewards that are food, yes, praise, but also freedom to go through that gate, for example. All comes through you and by learning to be patient. And we can start teaching that right away. Yeah, just like that. Right. And then you have a puppy who's polite about passing through a gate as opposed to just barging through. And there are all kinds of other examples that we can think of to teach patience to our puppies. We also, as we've talked about through today, want to be thinking about making positive associations, because positive associations, if puppies feel that good things happen in all kinds of situations, they will feel good. And if they feel good feelings, then it's much easier to teach them good behavior habits. If they're worried, then that makes it a little bit harder. But also positive associations build trust in you. And that's part of having a really good relationship, which also then makes training easier. And it also helps build confidence in the puppy. So if they feel safe and comfortable in all kinds of situations and enjoy those situations, whether it's going to a new place or it's doing training with you and learning something, then all of that happens much more easily, and we have a really good relationship with our puppies. So treats and praise are a tool for that when your puppy is coming to you, when you have to do some sort of handling like nail trims, which we have lessons for that to help that go easily and form positive associations, walking on leash, staying near you, all kinds of opportunities, meeting new people, etc., where we can be building positive associations and building trust in you. So it's all about creating those good feelings and also teaching the puppy what they should do in those situations. So not spending as much time trying to stop behavior as to build, instead building skills in a way where they understand what is the right answer, because they're really good at learning that. And all of that creates trust and builds a really great relationship. Now, of course, we have to be patient as well, because behavior change or creating new habits or learning new skills, all of this takes time, whether it's house training or it's learning to walk nicely on leash or look at you, whatever it might be, will take some time for the puppy to learn. And of course, they're quite young and they're growing up. So we want to give it that time and not worry about if something isn't going perfectly every time, because if you just stay consistent and you keep on training, you'll find that before you know it, you have the puppy that you were dreaming of, who's very happy and confident, and you have a really great relationship with them too, and that they have good skills and good and polite habits. So be patient, be consistent, follow the steps in the lessons, follow all of the lessons in our program. Even if you feel like you've already taught that or your puppy already knows it, it's still really good to revisit it and keep on building the skills that way. So keep the training going. So with a little bit each day, you will see your puppy's behavior transform. And before you know it, they're all grown up and you have the dog that you were dreaming of, and you can do anything you'd like with them. So that concludes our presentation for today. Keep an eye out for the follow-up emails, and you'll hear more from me then. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation, and I will see you in a future webinar soon.